Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast, it's the Darkest Timeline podcast. So just little old me today, I'm afraid. I promise you, one day I'll get a guest. I'll surprise you, and I'll have a guest on. That is the goal of 2021. More guests. Let's see how that goes. There'll be the usual stuff, something from the week of when this one was recorded, and then it'll be all the games, movies, and TV that you've come to enjoy or sit through. One of those. If you're checking it out on YouTube, do subscribe. It's a big help to the channel, and I appreciate it. So there's that. So here we go. This is CookieCast, the Darkest Timeline podcast. Oh my word, oh my days. I can't remember who used to say that. Right. Obviously, I know what your first question is. Mr. Cook, what is it you're tucking into, drinks-wise? A little energy drink, a cup of coffee, glass of water? No siree, I am drinking. Wait for it. Oh, that's lovely. I'm drinking a alcohol-free beer from a North Brewery glass. Both of those things will feature in this podcast, but they will feature later. Not now, later. A little bit of housekeeping, which has rapidly become one of my least favourite phrases. I missed a week, and I want to apologise for that. Now, I know that me missing a week has literally no impact on your life whatsoever, but look at it this way, it actually brings time closer together. So I think we were running at 3 weeks time difference, so now we'll be running at a 2-week time difference. So, you know, every cloud. What it does mean is I have 2 weeks worth of podcasts to fit in. Now, I know a few of you are strapping yourselves in, getting those old seat belts, double checking them, make sure you're well and truly strapped in, but don't worry. For the purpose of this, I have gone with a more streamlined version, maybe. Basically, I've got 2 weeks worth of stuff to talk about, but then a small amount of like the entertainment stuff. I thought I'd keep that to a minimum. Now, admittedly, I've not been doing like last week. The reason I didn't do a podcast and the reason that I haven't watched or done all that much, same reason. So we've literally it's been days of content gathering rather than 2 weeks. So not missing out on all that much. Let's dive in, see how we get on. Before we do, we're just going to have a little trying to work out what the taste on the back of this is. Part of me wants to say grapefruit. It's delightful. It really is. It's super pale. But yeah, like I say, we'll get there. The first thing on my list of things to talk about just says worst run. We've all been there. Anybody who has ever made an attempt to get fit and healthy in any way, shape or form you've always got that one where you're like, that goes down as the worst whatever. I've had rounds of golf that have been like the worst round of golf. I remember a round of golf. I remember very much a round of golf where I left a club sticking out of the ground because it was that bad a round. And weirdly, I feel quite, in a lot of ways, I feel quite fortunate because, you know, you might go out a bit chilly, but, you know, that's incentive to make you run faster. Hands are cold. Well, you know, either put a pair of gloves on, tuck them up your sleeves. You know, it's things like that. But it was all the planets aligned to make this the worst run. I'd taken Leanne with me, one of the few where we went together. She decided it was going to be a long one, and I had decided it wasn't. Unfortunately, we hadn't communicated each of those sides of that conversation to each other, so I only found out that it was going to be a long one after we were already X% in. And I'm very much the kind of person who I'll be like, alright, well, if that's what's happening, that's what's happening, rather than being like, well, I'm not doing that. But the tank was well and truly empty. Something that I will come on to. Just like hadn't been eating like big meals or a lot over last week or the week before, and that you know, it's just one of those things. It results in an empty tank. The energy, the fuel, however you want to look at it, it's just not there. Some days, no, you know, you can't explain it, but the ability, for whatever reason, the tank is dry. So it was that. It was also cold, and it was also raining. The rain was like tiny little shards of ice hitting you in the face. So it was this combination of all of the worst aspects. Like if one of those aspects hadn't been that way, it wouldn't have been as bad sort of situation, but all of them conspired to create what is so far being dubbed the worst run. Yeah, they're the ones where you're just like, it's not like, why did I bother, or I shouldn't have bothered, or that. It's, in some ways it gives drive and determination, because you know that the next one, in theory, can't be as bad. So yeah, we had the worst run. So, mentioned earlier about a glass and a beer sitting in said glass. I can't say I went to, because went to involved me sitting literally where I'm sat right now. I was part of an online beer festival. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, hang on a minute, pretty sure you don't drink. And you would be correct. So we got the option to have this this beer festival. It was arranged by Getting Over alum Mr. Stuart Woodmansey. And obviously not obvious at all. Got to stop saying that. And one of those things, Stu knows X number of people. Those people love the beers. And he offered this out to said people, and those people were like, yeah, cool. And I think you needed a certain number, and I'm pretty sure he had over that number. And I got an invite. Part of the reason I got an invite was because, allegedly, the company in question, which was North Brewing Company, had said that they could accommodate a non-drinker. So the way it works is you join a Zoom call, they send you a box of beer, they send you a glass, they send you a snack, and you sit and you have there's like a tour video of premises and things. They talk you through the beers. Obviously, not obvious. For the alcohol drinkers, all the beers were the same, and those beers were to be consumed in a particular order, and so on and so forth. For me, it was just, we'll send you some non-alcoholic beers. So the tour was interesting. They talk about how they're dealing with the way the world is now and things like that. Talk very passionately about their beer. Talk very passionately about their company. All that side of it, enjoyable, interesting, and so on and so on. Ooh. Oh, that is nice. So then after like an hour or so, it's basically a situation where the person who's running it, they drop out and they just leave you to do your thing. I was kind of in dad mode Saturday afternoon, and I won't bore you with the details, but I kind of needed to be available, so I hung around for a bit afterwards, and that was that. So that was the tour and the premise of the thing. Now, what is about to happen is that what it's going to sound like is that I'm going to be slagging off the company, and I'm not, because I hold no hard feelings and no ill will. Nobody has done me wrong, but from a customer service perspective, I feel that what I said to people was that there was two options for this process. One, they could have done it in a certain way so that when the box was opened, the recipient, and in this situation the recipient being me, could have been pleasantly surprised. The other situation was that they could have done the box in a certain way that when the recipient, again still me, opens the box, they are ever so slightly disappointed. So everybody that I knew on this call, the Zoom thing, was like, want to know what you're going to get in the box. We had to, as per instructions from Paul, we had to keep the box sealed until Saturday morning, and I did that. I left it sealed. I left it sat in the kitchen, and the cats took great interest in it, but it remained sealed. Saturday morning, let's get this box open, get the beers in the fridge. So of the 6 drinks I received, one of them was a 330ml can of non-alcoholic beer, and one was Tall Boy, which I think is 500ml. Correct me if I'm wrong. Probably wrong. Of non-alcoholic beer. For want of a better way of putting it, the other 4 drinks were lemonade. So one was an actual lemonade, another one was an apple juice, then there was what I believe is another lemonade with ginger. I am not a massive fan of ginger. And the final one was a red thing that to this point in time, I haven't opened it, I haven't drunk it. To this point in time, I still can't tell you what it is. The glass is very nice, I'm using it right now. And the snack was these little So, if you know what like rice crackers are, they were like little rice crackers, but they were cheese, and they were really nice. I almost wanted to look into getting some more. Obviously, not obvious, but everybody was like, "What did you get? What did you get? What interesting things did you get in the box?" And I didn't want to be the guy who was being negative, and I didn't want to be the guy that was like, "This is rubbish," and I wasn't. I just said, "Short version, lads, I got lemonade." What? Yeah, I can't sugarcoat it in any way. I got a couple of non-alcoholic beers, and I got the rest of what I got was lemonade. There was disappointment. I almost felt like people felt disappointed for me. I'm all about the crack and I'm all about the banter. I drank those 2 non-alcoholic beers while we did the tour and stuff. I had the snacks. I used my glass. I had a whale of a time. And that was that. So, if anybody's keeping count, and I'll give you a clue, if anybody's keeping count, I'm pretty sure I said early on, oh, that is a lovely non-alcoholic beer in my glass. So, went out yesterday, went to see Father Christmas. Not for me, although I enjoyed seeing Father Christmas, I'm not going to lie. Took the girls to see Father Christmas. Came home. When we got back, somebody was trying to deliver a parcel, so that was good. Got back. They gave me the parcel. Job done. Came inside, shut the door, locked it, walked into the kitchen, and there's a knock at the door. It's like, is this another parcel? Is this another delivery? I opened the door to find Mr. Paul Williams stood there. I've brought you something. Stu instructed to bring this as a replacement for the box from North. And I was like, okay. It was a bag, plastic bag. I had a look. Full of non-alcoholic beers. Some of them sound amazing. This is actually, I'm drinking one now, and this is the first one I've had. But I only got them yesterday, so you know. One of them is a pumpkin spiced beer that is non-alcoholic. So huge shout out and thank you to Stu, and a big shout out and a big thank you to Mr. Williams for both of you going out of your way to make amends. As I have said and conveyed, I wasn't hugely put out. I can see the difficulties, being a beer company trying to then source, because the other thing was they weren't going to source their own beers because they don't do an alcoholic range. I can see the difficulties. I wasn't wildly annoyed about it, but on the flip side, I was hugely blown away by what came off the back of it. I am going to enjoy tucking into these beers. I am very much aware of the non-alcoholic aspect of it, but like I say, this one tastes amazing. I've had in the last year, I've had some amazing non-alcoholic beers, and a couple of those non-alcoholic beers have been some of the nicest drinks I've ever had. So there you go. So going back 2 weeks, I had on my Monday morning weigh-in, I had a big weight loss. So I'd had 2 consecutive weeks of losing 3 pounds a week. So in 2 weeks I'd lost just under half a stone. I was hugely impressed. I was wildly impressed. which then coming to today, I was like, okay, here we go, gonna be a big one. I was a bit like, if I get on the scales this morning and it says I've lost £5, I wouldn't be surprised. I basically didn't eat for a week, just too busy and just not in a position. I was eating like one meal a day, running around all over the place. Wasn't exercising quite as much, but was still exercising. So I'd written, like a week ago, I'd written down about this weight loss, and I was feeling real good about it. I've also written on my list today about weight loss, and that is because I was like, if I've lost £5, it's going to be huge. It's going to be a real big thing. I wouldn't be surprised because of the way the last week's gone, but you know, let's not get ahead of ourselves. If we've lost £1, that's good. 2 or 3, great. Any more, big bonus. Super looking forward to it. Super happy. Stepped on the scales, and yes, you've already guessed it. Luckily, I didn't put any weight on. It's the only saving grace in all of this. But yes, I didn't lose any weight. I was saying, you know, there's a possibility that I have overdone it over the weekend, but looking back over the weekend, there wasn't anything wildly out of the ordinary, especially on weeks. It's similar to weeks where I've still lost weight, is what I'm getting at. The other option is that I went so far into starvation mode that my body was like, right, we need to hold on to everything because we're in starvation mode. So one of those options is true. I think we have to put last week behind us and move on. So I think we'll see where we're going to be at next Monday, and then, you know, might have to make a decision, change things up a bit. I've eaten a little bit more today to try and spark my body off back into doing its job. So yeah, we'll have to see on that one, and I'm sure I'll keep you updated. I wanted to discuss Yorkshire puddings. Oh man, Yorkshire puddings. Jeebus. So I have this thing where there's a point in time where I learned how to make Yorkshire puddings, and then from that point I've basically been attempting to perfect. What I do each year is, on the run up to Christmas, I make a load of Yorkshire puddings to try and make sure that I'm making the best version of the Yorkshire pudding. Last year I made a rookie mistake by attempting a new technique for getting the correct amount of oil in each one of the little dish bits of the tray. On the day, on Christmas Day, I was like, oh, I'll watch the video, and it showed you how to get the correct amount of oil in all of the pots. So I'm going to do that on the day. Luckily for me, it was a success, but it could have so easily gone the other way. So here's the thing. I know how to make Yorkshire puddings. I've had 2 test runs so far, and these 2 test runs have just been showing me just what a man is judged on his Yorkshire puddings. And if you are not hitting your best every time, because at some point in time you are going to make the best Yorkshire pudding. If you try and perfect your art, you are going to make the best Yorkshire puddings. I have been told those were the best. Those ones don't do anything to change what you've done there. But here's the thing. There are so many things, so many elements, so many intricacies to making the perfect Yorkshire pudding that there's so much that can go wrong. So here's the two things that I've done wrong in the last 2 outings. Number one, didn't leave myself enough time, then convinced myself that I didn't need the time. I mean, imagine that. I know I need half an hour. Because I had got into my head that half an hour included the heating of the oil, getting them in and all of that. I managed to convince myself that I needed 20 minutes. 20 minutes! You can imagine what they came out like. So I had to defend my honour, redo it. So I set out, right, here we go, I'm going to get these ones right. Everything was going fine. Now, a little bit of the same as last time, I'd actually shortchanged myself by 5 minutes because I'd done exactly the same. I was like, oh, the time that I need includes the time to heat the oil. And then, when it came time to heat the oil, instead, just put the oven on and left it. So I lost 5 minutes, so I had to put 5 minutes at the other end. But that was fine. But I'm pretty sure where it's gone wrong for this one is to heat the oil and the oven, you need the oven to be at 230 degrees. But to cook the Yorkshire puddings, you need 200 degrees. I have left the oven at 230 degrees and cooked them. So we ended up with soggy bottoms. Now, here's the thing. They were perfectly edible, you could eat them, they were fine. But, fine? In the world of the Yorkshire pudding, fine might as well go in the bin. And I've never dealt with something that is so intricate as this. There's so much room for error, and yeah, I've been hitting them all. And at this point in time now, we have basically got this weekend to try and rectify this before the big day. To be fair, I get the opportunity, I get 2 opportunities this year to do Christmas dinner, so, you know, 2 chances, as Mr. Afton used to say. But I'm telling you, I have never... pastry. I can't do pastry. My hand's too warm. And it has caused many problems. But yeah, Yorkshire puddings, jeez. Finish off on a light note. Not that I don't know if any of that was a real downer for anyone, but I'm going to finish on a light note. A couple of months ago, I saw I believe it's a meme, but I'm getting old and I don't know these things, so I think it's a meme. And all it said was, "I'm not asleep," and then underneath it said, "Every dad who has sat down on the sofa for more than 5 minutes." And I had a right old chuckle at that. I was like, ha, dads. That's funny. Because there was a time, a couple of months ago where I was like, Man, sitting down, falling asleep, funny. Sat down yesterday to watch Arthur Christmas. It's that time of year, gotta get your Christmas movies in. Oh my god. I'm sorry to interrupt this broadcast. No. Let me just double check. No, Van. Sorry. I've missed something off the list. That was nearly a massive problem. Right there, that is now rectified. Sat down yesterday to watch Arthur Christmas. Now, I've never really seen Arthur Christmas before. I'm sure any long-time listener of the podcast will know me and Christmas have a funny relationship. Good news to anyone who's keeping track. I am this year. I am trying. So it's hit and miss. Reason for watching Arthur Christmas is my middle daughter gets funny with films and things. There are things she'll watch and there's things she won't watch. I think she thinks that some things will be scary. And to avoid that, she just says no. So my eldest wanted to watch The Grinch, either of the Grinches, and my middle daughter didn't. So we were going through options. Muppets Christmas Carol, no. Show trailer. Bear in mind that she did watch the animated Grinch last Christmas and enjoyed it, but no, wouldn't watch it. So, tried to find something. Leon's like, what about Arthur Christmas? So the way we do it is we show a trailer to get an idea of whether it's gonna be okay. And she agreed to watch Arthur Christmas. And I was like, this is cool, because my eldest was like, yes. Middle daughter was like, yes. Leon's like, yes. The baby was asleep. Ticking a lot of boxes right now. So, got them drinks, blankets, tucked up, ready to roll. Put it on. Telling you, I think I got 5 minutes. Maybe more. 10 minutes. And I was just sat, and I was like, when your eyes are real heavy. So because of that, you're like, I'll just shift around in the seat, move, uncross your legs, cross them again, sit up a bit. Another couple of minutes. I'm pretty sure my eyes might have been closed then. Few more minutes. It's like, not sure if I missed a bit of this. So this went like this for, I'm going to estimate, 20 minutes. There was a point where I turned to look at Leanne and she was like, were you asleep then? No, I'm not asleep. Immediately remembering the meme I'd seen literally 2 months ago, and I'm like, balls. I guess I've reached that age. And it's that thing. There are a huge number of things about being a dad and the role of a dad and those sorts of things that I'm actually kind of settling into. I started doing this thing where I don't remember what stuff's called on purpose. I feel that I don't have to remember stuff anymore. My running joke I say to people is, what's that thing called? Pepper Patrol, is it? Poor pig. But yeah, remembering stuff. Like what things are called, like kids programs. Like there was a time when I would have prided. No, it's not right, is it? Would have been proud of myself. That sounds better. Because I was down with the kids. I knew all these programs and stuff. Now I'm like, I'm a dad. I don't have to remember anything. So there are aspects where I'm like, being a dad's cool. Being a certain age is cool. But yeah, now I feel like I'm just turning into a cliche. I sit down on the sofa and I'm asleep in 5 minutes. It's like, oh man. But now that's making me yawn. I'm sat on the sofa, so surely we know what's going to come next. Well, let's talk about some other stuff. That's been kind of like 2 weeks condensed and smashed together. I watched a comedy special, which is the first comedy special I've watched in a while. I was saying the other day, I'm getting excited because it's nearly that time of year when I get to sit down and watch Richard Pryor whilst wrapping Christmas presents, which is my least favourite pastime, but needs must. So it'll be soon. I can tell you that. But the upside is I do get to watch Richard Pryor live on Sunset Strip. Hands down one of the finest stand-up specials there has ever been. But this was not the one that I watched recently. The one I watched recently was Kevin Hart's latest special. And you know something? While I'm here, I'm going to tell you what it's called. Because I didn't write it down, so I'm going to have to look it up. How can I find that quickly? Would it come on? Oh, it's got a rude word in it. Damn. So it's called Kevin Hart Zero Fucks Given. Now is not the time to curb our language. So, anything that lies to you and wants you to believe that something is real or something is not something else, I have instant issue with. Just tell the truth. Because, yes, we absolutely believe that special was recorded in your house. And it wasn't recorded on a soundstage, on a set that has been built to look like somebody's living room, because it's not even going to be your living room. So let's get that out of the way. Next thing. Shortest version is Leanne gave it the best review. She was like, that wasn't very good. That wasn't, and I was like, what? She was like, it wasn't as good as any of his other specials. And I thought about it, I was like, no, you're right. It wasn't. I feel there's a lot of, in the world we're living in at the moment, there's a lot of trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. And I understand that it is very difficult for people who work in certain, I was going to say companies. It's not companies. People who work in certain professions physically can't make money. Musicians, for example. If you make your living from playing music to live crowds, you are shit out of luck. And comedians are another one. Now you've got your comedians like Bert. He's done an entire, I think it's like basically like 2 or 3 tours around America, just playing drive-in movie theatres. I think Tom jumped on the bandwagon towards the back end of Bert touring, and I believe Bill Burr has also done a few shows like that. But it must be difficult. And the other thing that must be difficult is comedians get their material from being out in the world, from experiencing things. A lot of those people are locked in their houses, so I do get it. But I am reminded of the phrase, just because we can doesn't mean we should. So just because we can do a stand-up special doesn't necessarily mean we should. Like I say, Lounge Review was the best review of it. It just wasn't very good. Now then, that doesn't mean to say it was bad. It was perfectly watchable and there was some laugh out loud moments. But nowhere near as many as normal. I watched a stand-up special a little while ago. Pete Davidson, the Saturday Night Live guy. I am gonna look it up because I don't want to just carry on talking. King. What's that on? Is Pete Davidson. There you go. Good. Moving on. And I'm pretty sure I said at the time that I felt that might have been recorded right at the start of the virus and the lockdown stuff, because there was a suggestion watching it that maybe there were points in time when the crowd, the audience, whatever you want to call it, weren't actually there. And that was a stand-up session that was perfectly fine, but it had 2 or 3 really standout jokes that were just really good jokes. And to be fair, Kevin Hart's special was the same. It had some, 2 or 3 really standout jokes, but the rest of it was just okay. Short version is, you don't have to take my word for it. It's on Netflix. If you've got Netflix, which I imagine everybody has these days, it's basically free. So if that's your cup of tea, I know I haven't sold it very well. It wasn't bad. It wasn't a chore. It was just not his best work. Take from that what you will. So, I watched some movies. Now you're going to have to bear with me. The reason I'm talking about them, 3 films I haven't seen. 2 of the 3 films I saw a couple of weeks ago, and if I'm honest, I'm struggling to remember a lot about them. Do you know something? One of them I might actually have to... Oh! No, I was getting, because it's another Guy Ritchie film, and I was getting it mixed up with that Rock and Roller. No, I do remember what this one was. I watched 3 films, all films I've never seen before, so that's why we're going to talk about them. I'm not going to talk about Arthur Christmas, mostly because I missed some of it. Don't feel it's fair to talk about a film that I haven't seen all of. So, watched the film Honey Boy. Honey Boy is a bit of a weird one because it's supposed to be partially, if not almost all, autobiographical. It stars Shia LaBeouf, and he plays his own dad. It's got a kid who's supposed to be him, and then it's got another guy who's supposed to be him grown up. And it's basically a film about the trials and tribulations of a child actor who, I suppose, is in an abusive child-parent relationship. It was written I want to say directed. Now I'm going to have to look it up. Why can't I ever do any homework? Oh, sounds like when I was at school. What am I looking for? Honey Boy. Honey Boy. No, not directed. Written by. So, written by Shia LaBeouf. And like I say, it was confusing because as far as I was concerned, this was autobiographical, biographical, whatever you want to say. However, there was a thing at the end, it was like, all characters portrayed in this film are fictional. You know, so, I don't know. Anyway, very good film. Bit terrifying might not be the right word. Scary, maybe not so much. Just that whole child actor thing. That whole sort of... I listened to a podcast recently. Corey Feldman. I think I mentioned it. And he was talking about being a child actor and how awful it is. And basically, there are two types of child actors. One that gets sort of like picked up and is kind of protected by the industry. And then there's the other one that is basically chewed up and spat out by the industry. I think a lot of people know at least something about Shia LaBeouf and where he kind of ended up. It's very well publicised. And I did feel that there was maybe an element of I don't know, woe is me, feel sorry for me, I am the way I am because of the way my life was. But on the flip side, I don't think you can go through that and not experience and not come out in a certain way. It would appear that he had a particularly awful time of things. And I don't know how close, any time that one person's telling a story that had other people in, you have to take it with a little bit of a pinch of salt. But yeah, it was pretty awful. Because there was this aspect of, I'm not overly sure how old he's supposed to be. I think he's supposed to be like 12 maybe. But ultimately, he was his dad's employer. It goes into a lot of the reasons why that was. And it was basically employing his dad to be like his minder so that he could go and make movies. But yeah, it's a rough watch in a lot of places. Hard watch. Good film. I've been put off. I'd had it on my list for ages, and it was a film I wanted to see, but I think anything like that, you have to kind of psych yourself up and build up to watching it. I've had a few of those recently. I think I was talking about last time. A film that has the potential to make you cry. You have to be in the right frame of mind to sit down and watch that film. It's that kind of thing. Bearing in mind, this is coming from a man who watched Avengers Infinity War, and then watched Avengers Endgame and cried at the end of Endgame. So, that was last week. So, I watched Revolver. Now, there's a mixed bag of a movie. This is going to be it's too... I don't think I can tell you what I was about to say, because it would ruin the whole film. And as far as spoilers go, that's not a spoiler, that's being a dick. So now I have to try and navigate around that. Guy Ritchie. Trying something a little different, let's say that. Let's go with that. Man, there's a lot to unpack from this film, and I really don't feel like I've got the energy. So, Jason Statham. Who has floppy hair and a big moustache. I want to call it a Fu Manchu, but I don't think it is. Like, basically, it would be a goatee, but the beard bit of the goatee's been shaved out. He looked awful. I honestly thought that the beginning was like going to be a flashback, and then it was going to be X amount of time later, and it was going to be him with his usual bald head and 5 o'clock shadow or whatever. Nope. No, it started at the beginning. That was his hair, and that was his moustache for the whole film. And it was so incredibly off-putting. I am actually, there was early on, I nearly turned it off when I realised that they were actually wanting me to take that hair and moustache serious. There was a guy in it who had been in The Sopranos. There is a part of me right now that feels like I'm lying about that. What? Oh God, there's a picture of it there. That freaking ass. Oh, what am I looking for? Oh, yeah. He absolutely was in The Sopranos. Sometimes I wonder why I second guess myself. Ray Liotta's in it. Ray Liotta plays the bad guy. Jason Statham, a guy from The Sopranos. It's all about money, supposedly. Now, as previously discussed, we all know the rules for a Guy Ritchie film. We know there's a twist coming, we just don't know where. When the twist came, I was... If I was a religious man, I'd have been on my knees, with both my hands pressed firmly together, begging that what I thought was about to happen wasn't going to happen. But I would have been too late. Yeah. If you can watch that film and not liken it to another film immediately once the twist happens, I'd be very, very surprised. I'm being very vague, but unfortunately I can say one thing, and not only will it tell you everything about this film, it will completely ruin the film. So if you have any intention of watching it, I can't say that. I also can, in all good faith, recommend that film. There was a lot wrong with it, whilst having a lot right with it. might just have to stop talking about it because I can't talk about it. That's a clue in itself. Anyway, let's move on so we don't have to talk about it anymore. That was delicious. I watched a Christmas movie, and boy, I'm glad I did. And not for the reasons you might think. Because you're like, is that because you're trying to get into the Christmas spirit? No. Oh, I could have spoken about that. Slept on the sofa on Saturday night. Because the baby just, she, won't sleep. So the baby downstairs, lay on the sofa, that was that. Woke up Sunday morning, and I was like, oh my God, I've woken up in Christmas. Because Christmas music was playing. And one of the first things I saw when I opened my eyes was the Christmas tree with all of the decorations and the lights running. And I was like, oh wow, I've woken up in Christmas. It was really nice. I watched a Christmas movie, and the Christmas movie in question was The Night Before. Had it on my watch list for a couple of weeks. Was going to save it. I think I mentioned this last time. I was going to save it until December, because, well, I'll keep that one to myself. And honestly, I am glad I watched this film. And I know that you're already like, oh, why was it rubbish? One of those three main actors are Joseph Gordon-Levitt, big fan of his. Anthony Mackie. I don't mind Anthony Mackie, and I do prefer him in more of a comedy role, but I often find him to be quite lacking. But I have no major issues with him. And the third one, and here's the third one is Seth Rogen. Now, Seth Rogen is one of those people that a lot of the films that I watch him in, I enjoy the film, and often I find he skates a really thin line with me. There are times when I'm like, yeah, he was quite good in that, but I think it was more the film that was good. And there are other times I'm like, you're just annoying. Weird thing is, and this probably says a lot, I couldn't tell you a single film or TV series or anything that fits that description, which would suggest that I actually enjoy the stuff he's in. But I think I enjoy the stuff he's in more than him being in them. None of that makes sense. But that's that. Night Before. Premise of the film is three friends. Joseph Gordon-Levitt's parents both die, and his two mates sort of vow to always do Christmas Eve, kind of going out and partying and drinking and stuff, because his parents died around Christmas and they wanted to cheer their friend up. But they're all getting older and they're all getting on, and they've decided it's not a tradition that they can sustain, because Seth Rogen's character is married and is having a baby. Anthony Mackie's character has become a famous American football player. Joseph Gordon-Levitt has become nothing. So it's a film about that. It's also a film about the Nutcracker Ball, which is this legendary party, invitation only, all of this. Premise being is that Joseph Gordon-Levitt manages to get 3 tickets for the ball, and they're going to go and have one last blowout. All of that is fairly standard. It's set, it's Christmas Eve, and they're going to do this stuff, and everything's going to be great. So it's like a 3-part problem here. 2 of the 3 parts the Joseph Gordon-Levitt and the Anthony Mackie side of things are just fairly standard. It's a comedy, so, you know, there's elements of comedy from them, but nothing major. Joseph Gordon-Levitt's got this like relationship thing going on, and Anthony Mackie's trying to get in with his teammates. And that's that. That is that done. The Seth Rogen side of it, on the other hand, is hands down the best part of that film. So basically, his story is that his wife, and the woman, you know, his wife who's about to have his baby, wants him to have one last blowout before becoming a dad. So she gives him a box as he's walking out the door, and it has all of the drugs known to mankind in the box. And Seth Rogen systematically works through all of the drugs in the box. And it's just him going through all the different things to do with all of these different drugs, and it's hilarious. It's just, it's very entertaining. Yeah. There's another guy in it who's been in all sorts of stuff. One of the underlying things about the film is that it incorporates various Christmas elements. So there are elements from like the Christmas Carol. Obviously, the ball that they're trying to get to is the Nutcracker Ball, and there's a bit where Raffi from the League, what's his name? No, I don't care. He'll always be Raffi. The point where he turns up, the point where James Franco turns up. Thoroughly enjoyable film. Thoroughly enjoyable experience. Really glad it was a Christmas movie. It really lifted my spirits at a time that I needed them lifting, and I heartily recommend this film. Lot of fun. Right, so let's talk about some games. VR wise, obviously we've been talking a lot about Boneworks, and I'd finished it, and I've been playing a lot of the arena mode, just running around killing the guys with different weapons. Managed to find, looked up online, managed to find a way to get more weapons into the arena mode. It's kind of a bit, it's not cheating because the game allows you to do it, but it's a bit sneaky. But you can go to a particular level of the game and essentially steal all the weapons off that level, so you get a good base of weapons. I need to go back and play through the main stories to try and find more weapons for the arena mode, but I've been having a lot of fun playing that. As far as like the VR side of things, but hands down, Boneworks is going to go down as my game of the year. I don't think it came out this year, but for me personally, absolutely game of the year, hands down. But you can't just spend all of your time running around in an arena killing zombies. You do have to branch out every now and then, and I did that last night by playing Stormland. I had a conversation today saying that Stormland was a weird one because when it came out, everybody raved about it as a game, and then it was a bit of a flare. It burnt real bright when it first came out, and then it just completely disappeared off people's radars. I kept it on my radar because I wasn't in a position to play it, so you kind of make that list of these are the games that I'd like to play if I got the chance. Well, I got the chance because I got it for half price in a sale, and I have the ability to play PC VR. So I started that last night. Very much a here's all the VR tools: climbing, shooting, different types of shooting, running eventually, and quick movement. You've got like a cool one is like, it's kind of when you go into water, because you're a robot and you're trying to piece together how it's like a what happened, like you died and you've come back and you try to work out why. When you go in water, you can like boost yourself along. I don't know how you're propelled. I think you have some kind of boost. But that's a lot of fun. That's like a new VR tool that I've not used before. The rest, fairly standard. Climbing. Yeah, we've done that before. Played that for, I don't know, maybe an hour last night. It was good and enjoyable. Graphics were real nice. I will be going back to it. I would have gone back to it this evening. But yeah, with the way the baby is and the sleeping, doesn't allow a lot of time. Like at this point in time, it's nearly 11 o'clock. So, as I'm sure you can imagine, not a lot of time for games. But tomorrow, maybe, who knows? Actual computer games. I've been playing Dead Space 2 for the bajillionth time. Amazing game. Really is an amazing game. I've been saying to a few people recently, if they said that they were going to do a remaster of Dead Space 1, 2 and 3, it would very much be a take my money now situation. 1 and 2 are amazing. Honestly, they are on my top forever game list. 3, it was ambitious, but it was also the death of the franchise. So I think people would say it was EA'd. Haven't played it for a while. Game Pass ran out, and I'm not at the moment feeling inclined to renew it, so I can't play it. Because of that, I did go back to Squadrons and I did finish it. I honestly can't tell you a more lacking game that I've played recently. There was so little substance to that game. I kind of wish they hadn't bothered. And there are people that want to tell me that it's a great game and it's a great concept, and because it's cheap, because it was released cheap, that means that it's good. Because even though there's not a lot, you didn't pay that much for it, but I don't agree. I feel that realistically, if the people that made it went back to the start and remade it, I feel that they would probably make different choices. There are a lot of aspects where just missed opportunities. You've got a franchise, you've got a type of game. Make it good. But instead it's like, here's a mission that's going to bore you to tears. Good luck. Like, alright, cheers for that. Could you not have made a good mission? Nah, sounds like a lot of effort. Okay, thanks. Thanks for playing. It's not a great game. There are aspects of it that are good. However, there's just no substance there. It's just a missed opportunity. Started playing 2 games last night, one of which is a game I've played before, Spider-Man. I've been watching a lot about the Miles Morales game. I'd quite like to give it a go, but I'm not going to give you an astronomical amount of money that you want for that game. I'm pretty sure it's like 55 quid or something. It's just not happening. So there. It did, however, make me want to play Spider-Man. So took 3 days to reinstall that game. Don't ask. Honestly, I don't know what it is. I don't know which aspect it is. I don't know if it's my PlayStation or I don't know if it's my internet, or it could just be both. But there are times when it's like, are you actually working? It's like, oh, it's going to take me 17 hours to download this update. Alright. That's good. It's like, yeah, that's the thing. Alright, nice one, cheers for that. I bought a game in the PlayStation sale. I bought a Naruto game. It's not just a game, it's 3 games, and it was less than £9. So, treated myself. The review of the first one was, it's a fighting game that anyone can play because all of your fighting moves and combos and this, that and the other are all done through one button. Obviously, I am the exception to that rule because I have literally just had my ass kicked non-stop up and down that game so far. So it's the same as every other fighting game out there, isn't it? Anybody can play it unless you're me, and these games aren't for you, so I'm gonna go back to it. I do wonder whether there is some kind of leveling system, but I haven't seen anything. I imagine it's you're rubbish, you can't play kind of situation. But we'll see, and I'll keep you updated on that one. So yeah, that is basically that. I don't know how we've run time wise, but 2 weeks condensed and put into one podcast for your viewing, listen and listening pleasure. So thank you very much, and until next time, I'll say see you later. So there you go, what do you think to that? Another one done. Yep, another one. Well into the new year now, so new year means new possibilities, and possibly would be guests, maybe. If you or somebody you know has an interesting job, why don't you get in touch, get yourselves on, or get the person in question on, and we'll discuss interesting jobs, interesting pastimes, interesting hobbies, any of that sort of stuff. YouTube watchers, if you could subscribe, it'd be amazing, and that way we can keep that channel growing. Everybody, jump over to thecookiecast.com, check us out over there, drop us a line, tell us what you got going on in your life right now. So that's it for this one. Until next time, I'm going to say bye, and I'll see you then. Bye.